It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. A man wakes before dawn, the air still cold, the world quiet. He dresses, not because he wishes to, but because he must. The clock commands him, the city demands him, and as he steps into the dim light of morning, he gives away the only thing he truly owns, his time. This is not slavery in chains. It is slavery in disguise, a trade so common we no longer question it, the selling of our hours for survival, for comfort, for a dream we never defined ourselves. This is the silent contract of modern existence. We call it freedom, but Seneca, the Stoic who saw through the illusions of power and wealth, would have called it by its true name, dependence. Because what is freedom if every day is sold to another's purpose? Time is the raw material of life. Once spent, it can never be earned again. You can lose gold and regain it, lose love and find it anew, but the minute you spend is gone forever. Yet people treat time as if it were cheap, abundant, and replaceable. They guard their money with obsession, counting every coin, planning every expense, but they give away their hours freely, without thought. They spend them on screens, on gossip, on work that empties the soul. Seneca wrote that people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but once it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful. He called it the greatest tragedy of humankind, that we value everything else except the only thing that truly belongs to us. Look at the world around you. Every building, every system, every job is built upon the trade of time. The economy does not run on money. It runs on hours, on attention, on human life measured in minutes. And the cruelest part is that most of us never stop to ask the simplest question: is this how I want to spend the little time I have? We dream of freedom, but build cages out of calendars. We crave meaning, but bury ourselves in busyness. We say we are chasing success, yet every chase ends in exhaustion, not fulfillment. Seneca lived under emperors who ruled with iron fists, but he believed the greatest tyranny came not from rulers, but from within. He warned of the man who becomes a slave to ambition, who fills his days with the noise of the world to avoid facing the silence of his own thoughts. The greatest obstacle to living, he said, is expectation, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today. How many of us live like that, postponing peace for some distant future that never arrives? We say, once I earn more, I'll rest. Once I retire, I'll live. But no one told us that tomorrow is the thief of today. The Stoics saw time as sacred. To waste it was to insult the gods. To give it away without purpose was to trade eternity for dust. Seneca wrote not to kings, but to ordinary men like us, who wake early, work endlessly, and wonder quietly if they are living someone else's life. He reminded them that freedom is not the absence of a master, it is the mastery of oneself. The free man is not the one who owns his days, but the one who decides how to spend them. A man chained to gold is still a slave. A man who serves truth and wisdom, even in poverty, is richer than emperors. There is a story, perhaps apocryphal, of a Roman merchant who visited Seneca, boasting of his fortune. He spoke of ships, estates, servants, and silver. When he finished, Seneca asked only one question: how much of your soul did you spend to afford all this? The merchant laughed, but later, lying awake in his marble villa, he could not stop hearing that question echo in the dark. That is the question of this age, too. How much of your soul are you willing to trade for security? How many mornings will you sell to pay for nights you are too tired to enjoy? We do not notice the theft because it is slow. Hour by hour, day by day, our life is exchanged for comfort until we wake up realizing that comfort has become our cage. Freedom, Seneca said, does not come from wealth or status or ownership. It comes from the ability to say no. No to the unnecessary, no to the noise, no to the endless demands of the world that pretend to be urgent but are not important. To say no is to reclaim your life. To say no is to draw a line between who you are and what the world wants you to be. This act of rebellion, quiet, personal, deliberate, is the beginning of wisdom. And yet true freedom also requires courage, because when you stop selling your time, you start facing yourself. The hours that once disappeared into work or distraction now sit before you, heavy with questions. What do you want to do with them? Who are you when no one is paying you to be someone else? This is why many people fear freedom. It demands accountability. It strips away excuses. It reveals that the problem was never the system. It was our willingness to belong to it. The Stoics believed that life's value is not measured in length, but in depth. A single day spent with clarity and intention is worth more than years lived in distraction. Seneca once wrote that life is long if you know how to use it. He was not speaking metaphorically. He meant that a life spent consciously, even if short, is infinite in meaning. To live deliberately is to stop measuring your worth by productivity, to stop defining success by comparison. It is to see time not as currency, but as breath, the rhythm that gives meaning to existence. So, how do you buy back your freedom? You start by understanding that no one can give it to you. You must reclaim it, moment by moment. Wake up earlier, not to work, but to think. Let silence fill the room before you reach for your phone. Spend an hour reading a page that challenges you, not scrolling through noise that numbs you. Learn the art of doing one thing slowly, fully. Do not let the world convince you that stillness is laziness. Stillness is the mind at work, the soul at peace. It is in that silence that freedom begins to take form. In the end, the price of freedom is not money. It is awareness. It is the courage to choose meaning over motion, depth over distraction, truth over comfort. Seneca believed that every man must decide whether he will live or merely exist. To live, he said, is to become the master of your own hours. Because the moment you stop selling your time, you stop selling yourself. And when you do, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel the weight of each second. You begin to see time not as an enemy chasing you, but as a companion walking beside you. And in that companionship, life, true life, finally begins.